Hey, it's Ashley Journeys, and today I'm going to be discussing the Great Reset that they said that they're going to be talking about at the World Economic Forum or whatever. And if you look up the Great Reset on YouTube right now, you'll see a lot of people are panicking about it. But I like to view this glass half full. So these are some books that I feel like should have already gotten a visual adaptation, whether it be a comic or a cartoon series, a regular show series, or a trilogy or a movie saga, whatever it may be. Just I think that these should have gotten visual mediums by now. They shouldn't have just still be like books that you could freely go and read on Wattpad. So the first one I'm going to be talking about is from this guy named Oliver on Wattpad, but he goes by the Biblical Center. It's supposed to be like a play on words or something like that. The book is called Creature. Now, I'm a sucker for a dude with magenta eyes, okay? And it's like, yes, most of the time, no, you cannot find an actual human being born with magenta eyes. But again, that World Economic Forum that's talking about the Great Reset is supposed to be highlighting the two things that this book brings forward. And I forgot when he released it, but obviously not in 2020. It's an old book. It was like a few years ago he wrote it on Wattpad. I'll leave all the links and stuff to everything I'm talking about so you can do your own research on it in the description. So in the book, there's a guy. Now, it's been a while since I read the book, so I'm not going to go into like detail of what the guy's name is and all that stuff. But in the book, there's a guy that he is a genetically altered human being, and he has powers, or he's a genetically altered human being that has his genes were fixed or altered so that he would have powers or superhuman abilities. And he also has a robotic leg. So that's awesome. That's everything that they're going to be talking about, which is because I did a little brief look over of what the World Economic Forum and what Elon Musk and all them were trying to discuss and try to pitch to all the big companies they want to discuss with about this change to a more technologically advanced era for the earth, that they recycle more, but also that we have more of our currency digital, and that they could go and there would be like part AI humans and stuff, just like on that anime No Guns, No Life. Yes, like people will actually have part robot limbs and stuff that gives them a superhuman ability. But I'm gonna first a Century series, and it's called Creature, right? So it's in the synopsis, it says, humans and creatures, that's what mankind has come to. Some humans were locked up as infants and genetically altered for the purpose of making a stronger species, and now their offspring have to be tested to see if they are safe to put out into the real world. Having been locked up in a secure facility all of his life, Charlie, that's the main character, is to be the first creature to step outside into the real world. So he is going to end up living with a scientist lady scientist, to assimilate to the world of humans that are opposed to living beside other humans who have gotten genetically altered, and opposed to even getting genetically altered themselves. So it says, new to the world and to humans who aren't trying to poke a needle in him, he's scared as to what it has to offer, but also curious. Assigned to watch the first creature and introduce him into the modern world, Carly, that's the other main character, has gotten quite the job. He is like a giant 6'7" baby. And she has to teach him everything from eating with cutlery to learning natural human behavior, to understanding such a difficult thing as love. He was just supposed to be an assignment, but the more time her and Charlie spent together, the more Carly had to admit he was so much more than just a creature. Charlie is a brilliant, fast-learning, curious species with a big appetite. So what do you think will happen when such a creature is introduced? Okay, and it says, one can only imagine. I just think. So, yes, I'm just trying to understand why this concept has not been put in a visual medium, even if it's not per se his book. Oliver already has said to a lot of his fans and readers that follow him that he's not looking forward to any fame or success or trying to make his book a big time thing. Like, it's just something he does in his leisure time, and that's fine. But again, this is a concept that it could have still already been introduced to the masses on the big screen or the small screen, which is like TV shows on like apps or whatever. And I guess we would see, if we see it more, we get more adjusted to, wait, so this is how genetically altered human beings will be around us. So that's kind of cool. Stuff like that. But anyways, so it just kind of sucks because, it's like now it's throwing it on us. I'm prepared because I've read that book, but a lot of people are kind of fear-mongering, and they are not prepared for living in a society with new beings in it beside humans. I think it's about time. Okay, but anyways, I think it's awesome. I don't know. I know a lot of people are like, as a natural-born human being, for you to say that, you're like working against yourself, blah, blah, blah. No, I think that it's about time that we humans evolved. It's been too long that we've taken so long just to update things such as our genetic information. I went to lab class when I was in college. Biology class. I did take biology. So I went to biology class when I was in college. And I asked my professor about that because he was like, a lot of horrible genetic mutations happen, and that's how you get kids with missing limbs or stuff like that. And he was like, it just happens when the DNA is too close. If there's copies in the DNA when a kid is being made, that could either result in a miscarriage. So your body just be like, and that's where those miscarriages come in place, where it just seemed like, it just happened out of nowhere. It's because it was too much genetic information, that it was too many copies in the DNA. So from the father side and the mom side of that fetus, it was too many copies. So the body, her womb itself, just got rid of it because it started deleting itself and just stopped forming the fetus to a more mature fetus. So I told him, well, to solve that problem, why don't we just go and genetically alter, just go and edit the genes so that we won't have this problem. And he said, because that's, honest to God, like my science professors, okay, let me reiterate this. My science professor with a doctorate's degree, I think he had a doctorate's degree in lizard science. I can't remember the name of the lizard science, but yeah, he was like, he told me the scientific name for it, and he was like, yeah, it's lizard science. But anyway, he told me, Ashley, you don't bring that up ever again. We're not going to play like we're God. That's playing like you're God. Genetically altering humans. That's no. But I'm like, but you could genetically alter vegetables, fruit. You know, I'm like, oh, you could genetically alter rats, mice, pigs. You know what I'm saying? Like, so if everybody else goes, everything else goes, why can't a human go too? I'm just trying to understand. I just didn't see the big issue. And obviously, these girls, these scientists that made this CRISPR technology that edits genes did not see the big issue either, because now that technology, that way of editing genes and all that stuff, that's out in the ether now. That's out there, and now it's just so many possibilities of fixing so many issues. So, but anyways, if you want to prepare for said thing, read Creature. Although I will have to tell you, it's a mature read. So if you are not into explicit scenes and stuff like that, you don't have to read that. But I have something else for you to read if you can't stomach reading anything mature. There's another book I would like to recommend, which is, and I don't understand why that is not a show or a movie, which is I'm a Cyborg's Pet. So in this girl, she gets upgraded from being a regular human like us to being a human who is in the custody of a human guy who got robotic upgrades. So he just kind of changed everything on his body. Like his whole form is robotic except his brain. I think that's how it is. Yeah, I think most of his body is robotic. When the writers, they call themselves the Scrivener, but when the writers, which is their real names is R.K. Adams and Rebecca Moreau, when they wrote this book, I was liking it and giving feedback and stuff on it, and they're really cool. They're really nice people and stuff, because they even answered me back and they were like, wow, thanks for being interested in our stuff, Osiris, and all that stuff. I'm like, that's really sweet, because I'm really just a fan. The more you write and the more I like your book, I'm just gonna, you know what I'm saying, I'm gonna keep reading and I'm gonna like it. So you don't have to answer me or anything. I'm not a demanding type of fan. If I like your stuff, I'm just gonna like it. I'm gonna give it a thumbs up. So the synopsis for this one goes: feisty Jenny Banks lives a dystopian nightmare as a robot uprising run by a dark AI artificial intelligences take over the world. Captured and slave-collared by robots, Jenny is sent to slave school and then sold to the notorious but mysterious cyborg called Lord Rockwood. Oh my gosh. How they describe you, could be like, ooh, he's so cool. It's like 7 feet or something tall. That's like awesome. Yeah, even though it's not like naturally humanly possible to achieve said height. You would just be a rarity. But just imagine these heights could be achieved if you have robotic upgrades. I'm just saying.